Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at techtrader.com. It's Saturday morning, the 21st of September. This is the weekend webinar. Real solid week for the markets. A little pullback Friday, but for the most part, we are doing very well. But with the S&P, however, made a new all-time high while the NDX has not confirmed. Same with the small caps as well for now. So we'll have to just see if there's a negative divergence here or not. The S&P 500, as you can see, has popped for a couple weeks now. Matter of fact, it was up for 7 days in a row, and then 8 out of 9 before Friday's pullback. A little bit of a pullback. The NDX, Nasdaq 100, not quite broken out yet. You can see there's a resistance here, there, and there, and we backed off of it Friday. So it's got to get back above about 19,950, 52 in that zone to get it going back towards 20,700. The old high, 20,691. But now we can see the NDX is firmly above the moving averages. S&P way above them, but still with the S&P making new highs and the NDX I'm not happy about it. Plus, even though the IWM's had a spectacular time of it and had a big move, taking it from 204 to 225-ish in about 5 or 6 days, we did not take out the July high, which is 228.63. If we do get a push here, I would expect to see this closer to 234.5. The Nasdaq 100 resistance, as you know, is here and then there, and the S&P 500 is when I'm first of all the high from last week at 57.33, the new all-time high, that would be initial resistance. Then I'm looking at 57.75 in that area at the top of that line I've drawn in. If we get a blow-up type move, 5,900 is possible. 5,900, excuse me, 5,900, yeah. So that's what it looks like, and I'm not quite pleased with it, but we'll see if we get a follow-through in the Nasdaq 100 next week. And the IWM, now the transportation index really got smacked Friday because of FedEx down like 45 points on earnings. So you can see that this has had 5 or 6 tops up here and unable to get through. A big pullback like that, you want to halt that immediately and have it back and fill and move back up again. Or you're going to get this kind of a 3-day pullback and this thing could come down towards 15,123 area. So I'm concerned about transportation, of course, but we'll wait and see what happens. The underlying technicals show that the oscillator, hang on one sec. McClellan oscillator got all the way up to a plus 133.5 and then back down into the neutral territory near 29 and closing at plus 47, so it's still pretty neutral. Overbought being over 150 to 200 and oversold closer to 150. So we'll see where we go, but that's a neutral reading. The percentage of stocks above their 40 really took off, and this a week and a half went from 31% to 70%. It's pulled back a little bit, 63% now, but that means 5 out of 8 stocks are trading above their 40. Not the best confirmation of a bullish trend, but better than negatory. In any case, you can see how this got out. Every time it gets up in that zone, it becomes a little bit in an overbought territory for that index. The lack of worry on Wall Street is worrisome, frankly. This thing spiked obviously to the mid-60s for a day, and then it came way down back in August. But since then, it is unable to do more than get into the mid-20s, and now it's back to 16. So, and this doesn't get real dangerous until it gets down into the high single digits, somewhere between 9 and 11, in my opinion. And we'll see if the market pushes forward and whether this gets down there and whether this moves up in the ranges where they're more extremely overbought. Now, the underlying leaders of the Nasdaq 100, I shouldn't say underlying, but the leaders, the Nasdaq 100 generals, which we watch constantly because they're market leaders. Apple. Take a look at the V bottom of the platform and a break back out to test resistance right there. Now it did pull back Friday on option expiration, quadruple option expiration day. They go from 233 to close at 227.77, and net on the day was actually down on a reversal day on heavy volume. So obviously that could trigger some pullback and maybe retest down toward 215.18. We'll see what if this immediately comes back up through, and that was just option expiration stuff like it was back in here, or we shall see. Amazon really doing well. V bottom, right hand extension, pullback from the moving average and price resistance and falling, declining top sign, and then retested nicely in this zone, broke out. It's moved up nicely to resistance right here at about the 191.2 zone. Next target, 200, give or take a point. Google, obviously not as strong, but it did rally back from the depths of this gapping area here from back in March to bounce sharply and have Google go from an oversold 148 to 165.5 range. There's resistance just overhead. This is the resistance zone of Google. If it gets through, you're looking at 178 in that area. But we could just as easily come down and do some retesting. Nevertheless, a bullish chart. Same with Microsoft. The bottom right-hand extension breakout, but right to resistance. The support of Microsoft is 428 and 421. Obvious resistance now 441. And the move through that zone could get us into the 460-70 zone. That would be bullish for the market indeed. Looking at NVDA, well, that's trailing and hasn't done well of late. Even though it did bounce back with the rest of the market. Since then, last week was a consolidation sideways, do nothing week for NVIDIA. As it got down to, at the low for the week, near 113, while the high for the week was about 120. So it was a 7-point range, very narrow range for that stock in particular. If that flag pops to the upside, we're good to go into that 129.32 zone for NVIDIA. Netflix doing well and up against multi-year highs, all-time highs actually. It made a nominal new high all-time on Thursday, reaching 715.66 before backing up to 700 at the close on Friday. But nevertheless, anything through there, this is going to be rock and roll to 750 plus. Meta, exceptionally strong, going through a double top to new all-time highs at 564.5 on Friday. That was the all highest that's ever reached. So Meta definitely positively leading the market. What about Tesla? Well, you can see Tesla had a minor breakout above resistance into that gap right there. Couldn't get through it. Might be a little mini 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it might be a rising flag or wedge here. See, so we got to break out and run, or rollover could be very ugly. So now you've seen the NASDAQ 100 leaders and some of the underlying technicals for the market. The ETS we follow closely that lead the way, semiconductors, SMH, nominal breakout Thursday, pullback Friday. It needs to hold and go, or a pullback could be pretty negative for the market. Key resistance at 254.5, then 265. Biotech's better, but not broken out yet. Take a look again. Across here is resistance. The market's hesitating at 152.5 roughly. We get through that, you're looking at 175.78. That could be big for biotechs and maybe get up in that zone. XBI is another biotech to look at. It's pretty much the same. Right up against key overhead resistance. Looks actually better than the LABU because this is the high and it's not near there yet. The XBI is right at resistance. Boy, I'll tell you what, there could be a big move on biotechs if this gets through. And finally, financials, the FAS has been a phenomenal trend for the last year and a half. Recently, the hard pullback at pre-FOMC and then the snapback after a 50%, 5.50 reduction has this back up to multi-year highs, but the all-time highs up here. So if we do get a bounce or an extension, 141 and 152 are the targets for FAS going forward. Gold, GDX, NUGT, and JNUG, what I follow closely, are all up or against or through key resistance levels. You can see the JNUG hasn't gotten through yet. Nugget just slightly. The GDX as well, just slightly. AGQ in the silver sector also has moved out of a base pattern above the moving averages and now may be headed for 43 and 46. Those are your targets and resistance for gold and so for silver, excuse me. In terms of oil and gas, well, the KOLD, which is a bear, really had a really bad day on Friday as it dropped from almost 72 to 63, about 8.5 points, and finished on big volume to the downside, the lowest finish in 6 weeks, with oil the opposite way, with natural gas firming up, coming out of a across the 40-day moving average, excuse me, the 50-day moving average, and now has a target about 11. 11, 12, and 13.5 are targets going forward on oil. If this takes off Monday, it could really rip. So that's a look at the underlying technicals, major ETFs we follow closely. And let's just quickly look at oil. You'll see the USO has had a run right back to resistance. It's still in a downtrend. This is critical. If we break through here, oil might run up to the mid-70s, maybe even high 70s. But a failure here could roll over and get you down to the mid-60s, even low 60s. So this is what we're going to be watching closely in terms of the oil and gas areas next week. We had a lot of longs to check out. Let's take a look, starting with alphabetically as we always do. AAOI. After a long downtrend, breakout, a wedge, a pop, a flag. Now looking for 16 3/4 and 20 as targets. ADMA, fantastic junior biotech. Look at this run. 3 to 20. Now the target is 23.4. Very good momentum. Big volume on Friday. AEM, this is in the gold sector, one of the leaders. Big base breakout. It's a 1, 2. It looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth wave hasn't completed yet. Could get up to 89.90. AEYE, fantastic run out of a base from under 5 to mid to high 20s, 26. Consolidate, made a nominal new high, but couldn't follow through and then consolidated for another 6 weeks. The last couple of days, you can see it spiked from 20.5 to 25.5. It looks like it might be breaking out again. Targeting a retest of that 28 range, 29 actually, sorry, and then mid 30s. Affirm, breakaway gap, 5-6 day pullback, held the trend line, and now snap right back to a nominal new high before backing off Friday. But my target is 52 and 60. AGI, another gold stock with a beautiful base and a rising channel, is at the top of the channel. So this one has some relative strength. And if gold does take off, we're looking at low to mid 20s. EGQ, we saw that. AMRX, a junior bio with a really nice move. And literally in March of 23, a year and a half ago, it was $1.25. Here it is, 8.70, with a channel target now of 10.11. ANNX, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave move, and then a pullback, a multiple month wedge or coil. We broke out, and now we're flagging. This looks set up for a move to 8.5, maybe 10. APLT, another beautiful rising channel. Breakout 8 last week, and a 2-day pullback. If it continues and gets to 9.5, we're looking at 11.5 and 14. APP, what a wonderful chart. It's a long 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth wave is a 1, 2, 3. We may need a fourth and a fifth. If we get the fifth, I'd look for 145.50. Apps broke out of the inverse head and shoulder with a breakaway surge, a big volume, and kept going until we reached our target. At about 4.5, we reached 462. The pullback has gotten back in the buy point, I think, with a tight stop under 250. Your target is 4.5 and 6. Aspen, a building products company with a beautiful rising channel, and then this steep pullback and reversal followed by a retest. It's a V bottom with a right-handed extension, almost an inverse head and shoulders. Neckline's there. If we get this one through, your target would be 33 for starters, and then high 30s. ASTS, wonderful rising channel, exploded off of the 225 range in May. Literally went from 225, folks, to 39. Huge move. And the last couple months, you can see it's been consolidating. Need this to hold the 23.5 area. Any move above 30.5 might get this running back towards 40 or better. Gold stock AU remains in a rising channel, but it's not as strong as the others. Nevertheless, it's holding the trend line. The stop is under 26.25 over 30, which is your first target. We're looking for 33.34. ADPT, another beautiful rising channel in the biotech sector. This is software. You can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-way move already, but it's flagging and it may have an extension to 13. AXGN is a breakout through a multiple 3-year base, which could lead to 1820. Best Buy broke out of a beautiful base. Take a look at this one with a breakaway gap and a nice wedge. Setup says 111.12 and 124.5. BCRX long downtrend, breakout move coil, and then a pop retest, spike flag pop, another retest, looking for a run to maybe 9.5, 10. BLBD, beautiful long term 1, 2, and then 3, 4. Fifth wave, I think, could get you into the 80 range. This is possibly spectacular. Take a look at this one, first to 60 and then to 80. BLCO, beautiful chart, break away from a base, breakaway gap, running gap, wedge. Target 22, 25. BLND, beautiful little junior software stock as well, with a 1, 2, 3, 4 and breakout. This could be 1, 2 of 5. I'm looking for 3, 4, and 5. Getting it up to at least 6. Bristol Myers, long downtrend. Popped, breakaway gap, ran to resistance and backed off, and now it's coiling. This is the kind of stock that I think could have a big move in the next year through mid-50s, low 60s, and maybe 70, 71. BVS, rising channel, acceleration. Through resistance, here, momentum. Target 13. BYRN, broke out and we put a swing on it. It flagged and popped, and then retested sharply Thursday, but it came back with an engulfing bullish reversal day Friday. Target is 20 and 27. Kava, phenomenal move this year from last November when it was trading at around 30, 31. It went to 130, 31. It's a 100-point move, and yet it doesn't look done, does it? It could very well be 150 and 175. CDE, another little junior gold miner, breakout, wedge, breakout, flag, pop, retest the moving average. The trend line and secondary support right there. Tested the trend line again, popped, now the flag. This stock looks like a $9.50 stock. CDNA, a beautiful inverse head and shoulders, breakaway gap, wedge, pop flag, run up to the channel top and flag, and now it's moving again, targeting 44.5. First, a retest of the highs in order at 35. CEG exploded on Friday on a 20-year deal with Microsoft. After having been up for a week and a half, it went vertical for from 206 to 259 and more than 53 points. It finished near the upper end of the range. I'm looking for an extension to about 285. CL, one of those blue chip stocks that's been a beautiful trend, along with Coke and Philip Morris and Unilever. Those four in particular I've been following look exactly like this. And you can see they're pulling back now with the market rally because their money moved out of those into some of the tech stocks apparently. Careful here though, we don't want to break that trend line. Your next target though, 115.16. CLBT with a breakout of a base, a retest, and a channel up. Recently the pop and flag popped again. Don't know how much more it's got left, but boy, it's had a big run. Now looking for 1920 zone. CLPT breaks the base, spikes up, runs up, and now this coil. Friday might have broken that coil. I'm targeting 15 and 17. COGT, beautiful rising channel. Broke it through resistance and pullback, and it's popping again. My target, 13.5. Core, COHR, beautiful rising channel. 1, 2, 3, and this is 4 and 5th wave started. I'm looking for 98. COMM, beautiful little telecom with telecom equipment company. Beautiful base, breakout, retest, pop, pullback, and now a new rising sharp channel shows that we've had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1, and this is 2. Wave 3 is underway. The target was 7. We get through that, looking for 10. CORZ, recent IPO back in January of this year, broke out there. ran up and coiled and broke out again. I'm looking for 1718. CRMD breaks the declining channel with a spike, stair-steps its way higher, looking for 8 and then 9. Corvus breaks out of a base, surges, consolidates, pops, flagging again here, 7, 9, 10 targets. Carvana, unbelievable, $170 from 3 3/4 back here. No kidding. How about that? I think it has designs and retesting the all-time highs around 200, 195, 200 is your target. CWAN breaks out of a base, inverse head and shoulder type, with a spike and a falling wedge. Popped and flagged, and now is running again. 26.5 and 29 targets. Denali recently broke out hard out of a base and is running. My targets are 35 and 39. Dole, this food company, broke out, did a nice consolidation retest, ran up, pulled back again, so it has a 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth wave well underway, but it might reach high teens. Aerospace stock DRS, Leonardo DRS, beautiful rising channel, and now in another consolidation, which it's seen here, here, and here. Well, next target's 33. Junior gold stock EGO, great relative strength, looking for the mid-20s. ERJ, Tech Trader Swing, broke out and continues to press higher. 41.5, 3/4, and 46.7 are targets. EWTX, you can see the pop, flag pop, a large consolidation range. Thursday was a major breakaway move as it popped from 19 to 29, 30, and had an inside day Friday. If it gets to 30, I'm looking for mid-30s. FEIM, Tech Trader Swing, a little funky in here. It came down to support a couple, 3 times, held and then bounced, but couldn't get the resistance. Kept me back down to support again. And Friday, in particular, was a negative reversal day. We do not want this one under 11.5. Make sure you have a stop. FRPT, phenomenal chart, indicating to me that high 50s, low to mid 60s or more may be doable. FTAI, look at this aerospace stock. How about 14 to 131? Doesn't look done. Possibilities, we see 155. Gato, silver, Mexican silver stock with a phenomenal chart. Targets are 20 and 25. GDS also channeling beautifully. Just popped out of a wedge, right up to resistance near my target of 20. Next target 26. GE, phenomenal long-term chart. After multi-month consolidation and triple top broke out, and it's running. My target's 200. Barrick, the big gold purveyor, Barrick Gold, not as strong as some of the others, but if it gets through here, it might start to run with mid-20s target. Construction stock company GVA spiked in November of last year, and it literally has gone from 33 to 80. And that is right at the all-time high. So any additional upside could take this flying into the 90s. Harrow, one of our Tech Trader swings, popped and flagged and just kept going. Now another pop and another pop. I think we're going to see 59.60. Howmet Aerospace, another beautiful rising channel like FTAI, only even more parallel. This one looks like it could be $110, $12 stock. IAG, a junior gold stock, tremendous relative strength. My target's 7. IMRX exploded with big volume and then spiked. Pulled back down Friday and from the wedge, but you can see Friday how it exploded again. 228 to 351 on Friday. 32% gain. If it gets to 390, my first target, I'm looking at 5. INSG breaks out of a base, flags, and then goes vertical, pulls back, and runs. Target 32.3. INSM with a monster breakaway gap in May on drug news kept running. Now it's flagging or coiling in this area. I have a target of $100. IoT at an all-time high through resistance. Looks like it could channel into the 59.60 range. Coke's another one of those blue chip stocks we talked about earlier. That's flagging. My target 77. LASE. Pop, falling wedge, pop, wedge, another pop, wave 5 underway, target 13, 14, maybe 16. LMB, Lumbach, beautiful chart. Only gone from 5 to 80 and it looks like it could be a $100 stock. LPX, Louisiana Pacific, breaks out of a 2-year base pattern and still steps its way higher. My target is 119 and 130. LRN in the learning group just broke out of a flag last week. My target is 89. It keeps going 108. LSF, spike blowout, falling wedge, flag, pop, long coil. Friday it might have broken out. Keep your eye on this one, especially over 485. Then we're on our way to 6, 7, 8, and 9. LTH, another beautiful rising channel. This coil tells me we're going to pop again. High 20s, low 30s are targets. LUMN went bonkers from under $1, about 8-fold to 783. Pulled back in the coil. Now it's moving again. If it pops here, it could go crazy. My targets are 8.5 and 10. Lunar broke out of a coil and spiked, held for 2 days, and then popped. I think the stock heads towards 12. Newmont Mining, one of the bigger gold stocks in the world. Some resistance from early 23 at the 55 and a half area. We get through that, we're looking at 62.3. Neon breaks out of a base, goes vertical, forms an ascending bull coil, and rips to two of my targets. So it's basically gone from 3 to 15 or 5-fold in about a month. Be careful. But momentum is strong. NNE exploded, gave back most of it, but held near the apex of this early coil. We tested it, popped to resistance there, pulled back, held support, and spiked on Friday. Watch this one going forward. Immediate target is 16. We get through that, 20. NRIX, a beautiful biotech stock, which has gone from 4 to 25.6. Doesn't look done yet, does it? If we break through here, we're looking at probably 31 and 34.5. The Terra, which I gave you as a swing back in the 80s, has made it up to 130 odd, 132, and now flagging. My target, 140, 155. New Valent broke out. I put a swing on it. It popped hard and then pulled back. But I think this stock has 145 written all over it. OKLO, big day on Friday as it spiked through two moving averages, 3 moving averages, and a declining tops line. Looking for an extension on this one to 9 3/4. ONON, take trade a swing when it broke out, has moved up from the mid 30s to over in the low 50s, and now I'm looking for 55 and 60. Oscar, long-term beautiful chart, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th wave underway. I'm targeting high 30s. First 29 and then 33, 35. PAYO breaks out of a base and pops up near the 22 high or near it, and that's my target around 8. PCT breaks out of a base, pulls back, and then explodes. Target 12. Phantom Pharmaceuticals breaks out, runs up to the target range. We get to here, this might be $30. Let's keep an eye on this one. Impinge, one of our better swings of the year, of the last year, went from the breakout where we put it in the 59 range to 204. How about that? And doesn't look done yet. I can see 245. PLCE, after a long falling wedge, right there, exploded with a breakaway gap and went vertical, literally from 5 to 18. I need a little consolidation in here, then the setup goes into the low to mid 20s. Palantir, also a beautiful chart, breakout here, rising channel there. New multi-year highs, not all time. My target's mid 40s. And Philip Morris is the other one of those other blue chips we talked about that has pulled back within a rising channel. Still looks pretty good for 135 target. Poet, pop, falling channel, pop, coil. Tried to pop out. We put a swing on it and then it backed off. But my targets remain 4 and 6. PSN Parsons, rising channel. This stock just continued. Press. Look how strong this is. My target, immediate target, is 106.7. We blow through that 118.20. Personalis broke out of a base from the coil, then popped it from the falling flag. It looks like it's about to pop again. I'm looking at 7.5 and 9 as potential targets. Rail, what a breakout, and then a continuous run, literally from 3 and 335. It's quadruple, so over 11. And my target is 13.5 now. Red cat breaks out of a base, forms a wedge, pops, and forms another kind of a coil. May have popped Friday. My target's 4.5, 3/4. REFR with a big day Friday, spiked on relative strong volume for that stock. It went up about 21%. If it gets through that level, the high, say over 240, you might see 3 and 4. Rocket Labs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wave 1 and 2. Wave 3 and 4. Fifth is underway. It might be a 1, 2 of 5. I'm looking for 3, 4, and 5 into the 9.5, 3/4 range. RMTI breaks out of a base, forms a flag, pops, and forms a wedge. It's popping again. Looking for this next wave to get up to 6, 6.5. RNA, one of our other better swing trades of the year, popped and broke out. We put a swing on it in the 7-8 zone. It is made it up into the, believe it or not, high 40s, 48 plus. It coiled for a few weeks and it's probably breaking out again. Any move above 49, looking for mid to high 50s, if not more. Roku breaks out, forms a wedge, and pops again. My immediate target now is about 87. RBMD breaks out of a coil and is running. I'm targeting low to mid 50s and maybe 60 on this one. SATS stair-stepping its way up and accelerating, has an immediate target of 30. Sprouts been a phenomenal rising and tight chart, target 125. Sweet Greens, the restaurant chain, right at resistance here. We break out, we're headed from high 40s and high 50s. Smmt exploded in May and formed a little flag, and from there it took off. 6 to 33 and change, more than 5-fold. Now the pullback. I don't think it's done yet. 38.40 target. SMR, pop wedge and run, and then form another wedge and it's starting to run. It broke out Friday on big volume. I'm now looking for a move to 17 and 22. SPRY swing trade broke out of double top and ran to the target. Pulled back to retest moving average and price support, and then snap right back. My target, 18. My favorite marijuana stock is True Leaf Cannabis. Beautiful long coil, broke out, and now it's got a flag for me. Keep an eye on this one. Anything above 11.45, we might see 14. Tigo, beautiful rising channel. Break out above resistance, targeting 32.3. Track, fantastic long-term chart. Broke out across there. Retested there, targeting 25. TVTX breaks out of a base and spikes. My immediate target is 18. UL, that's the other blue chip stock that's trending, along with the Colgates of the world. Target is 70. BERI pop, we put a swing on it, but it backed off. It may have stopped some of you out, but it's reactivating. And if it gets above, and this is what you want to look for, above 415, it's 6 or 7. Viking may have broken out Friday. Keep an eye on it. Maybe something doing over the weekend or Monday morning, but it looks like it's on its way again into the 80s and 90s. BRNA, beautiful stair-step move, and now flagging. Mid-channel target is 35, upper channel 42. BST also broke out of a multi-month coil. It just has gone vertical, literally being up every day for the last 10 days, 2 weeks. It's at resistance, though. It may need to rest. WGS swing trade, when it popped here, we put a swing on it. It's done nothing but go up. High 50s to 60s is my target. And finally, and alongside Zeta, been phenomenal since we put it out after the breakout, I believe in April, when it was 12 and change. Well, it's made it up to 29.77. It looks like it could be a $35 stock. On the short side, just a few to look at, and I'm not keen on them, but I will tell you this. BPMC broke down, had a bear flag, and then it snapped back to resistance. The stop is over 97, but if it fails and rolls over, we test 84 and get down into the high 70s. CMG with a big hit after that big 10-for-1 split, and since then has gone up in a rising wedge. If it fails, it's going to get creamed, but it's something you need to keep a stop on above 59.60. Disney may have bottomed here. This is a V bottom, a right-hand extension. It did move up, but I'm going to need to get over Thursday's high to say this is broken back out. So over 39.30, 95.30, with energy, we may start to see something. But for now, careful because it could still fade and fail and have this become nothing but a three-wave corrective bear flag. See it? We'll see. FCX double bottomed and popped the resistance. So this one has to be stopped if it gets above 46. But a failure or rollover should get you to 42.5, 39.5, 36.5. Hubs, head and shoulder top, hard break, rising wedge, right to resistance. If it fails here, it could come down pretty hard. If it takes out 484.5, that's where it's going to really start to see ugliness. INFA broke down, bear wedge, bear flag, another bear coil. If it fails here, look out below. We're looking for going down to 20. I'm going to break out about 27 would be covered. INMD in the 2-year declining channel, downtrend, did pop and pull back. I don't want this over 19.5 would be my stopping point, but the targets are 15 and 12. NBIX breaks a long uptrend with a nasty gap. It doesn't look good. Friday's engulfing bearish bar tells me we go lower even. I'm looking for 106 and 88.90. PACCAR, well, we'll see. It did snap back above the 50. It does have a 1, 2, 3, 4, so it could fail, especially if it doesn't get any further than right where it is. It's a parallel channel. The targets conceivably would be 92, 88, and 81. Qualcomm may be acquiring Intel. They didn't like that news. The stock got creamed on Friday. But any breakout above Thursday's high, 177 stops me out. My targets are 158 and less. Schwab broke its uptrend with a down spike and formed a long coil. It looks like it may be breaking out here, but if it fails right there at the moving average and at resistance, this could roll over into the high 50s. TDW, perfect head and shoulder type top or double top. That's a bear wedge, and there's another bear flag there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Could have a fifth wave down. It gets you in the low 60s. Urban Outfitters breaks down from the bear flag, breaks down, and it runs up to resistance. We don't want any above 39. And you can see Thursday, Friday came down again. The first target is 34. The second target is 31. Weatherford broke its channel from the bear wedge and also from the bear flag. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4. We got a fifth. We're looking at a move down towards 75, 77. And finally, Yelp remains after a head and shoulder top in a downtrend, and that's a bear flag per se, but you can cover over 35.5, 6 if it should pop. On the downside, anything under 32.5 leads to 31, 30 range, and then maybe 28.5. Well, folks, that's an exhaustive look at the longs, the shorts, the technicals, the indices, the leading ETFs. And so please review this extensively over the weekend, maybe a couple times if you can, and get some ideas about what you want to do next week and what you think your stops and targets might be in some of these stocks that you're interested in. And always ask me if you don't know. I'll be here for you. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'll talk to you then. Bye, everybody.